Hi, I'm Dr. R.G. Allen Wilson. You may recognize me as a leading relationship expert for TV programs such as CNN, The Today Show, Good Day Philly, Fox 29, Tamron Hall Show, Mel Robbins Show, and local and national radio shows, just to name a few. I want to invite you to a very awesome opportunity that will enhance your life. Having courageous conversations that connect is key for a healthy relationship with ourselves and others. Knowing the right strategies and techniques aren't as simple as we think. There are principles to understanding how we all think and feel. Right now, you can join in my free quarantine talks to learn what others spend thousands of dollars in therapy to know. Each day, while we are in quarantine at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can watch, listen, and learn tips that will help you get through this challenging time in our lives. Here's the good news. There is absolutely no cost for you to participate. Tune in on YouTube, Facebook, and the Gram at Ask Dr. RG. I look forward to seeing you join our crew, and that's connecting relationships for epic wins. Have a beautiful day on purpose, from my heart to yours. And good morning. This is yours truly, Dr. RG, for Courageous Conversations Connect Space Quarantine Talks. It is August 12th, 2020, and this is our 21st week. Believe it or not, it's our 68th episode. How's that a possibility? I don't know. We just started and we continue to do this, and so welcome this morning. I thank you for joining. I see Nicole, Mama Stokes is already on. Thank you for joining, Mama Stokes. And if you can, there's some other people on. We're just going to kind of wait. I see Billy Joe. Thanks for joining, Billy Joe. If you have yet to do this, please do us a favor. Going over to the YouTube page, Ask Dr. RG, AskDrArgie. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also hit the notification bell and smash that thumbs up. That helps with the algorithms. This is our community give back. This is the way in which we give back to you. And quite frankly, you as our crew, connecting relationships for epic wins, you give back to us. So we're in this together, having our quarantine talk. So welcome to our IG family. Welcome to our Facebook family, as well as our YouTube family. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. Talk about women leading, okay? There's a lot going on in the world, and I think that the universe took a breath yesterday when Vice President Joe Biden announced his running mate as Senator Kamala Harris. I think we all took a sigh of relief and was like, oh my God, we can breathe for a moment. But guess what? It's the next day. They're going to be, I think, at 2:00 talking together for the first time on the ticket. And there is work to be done. We've got a lot of work to do. I wonder what happened. Okay, it went away for a second. So listen, I see Deborah. Good morning, Deborah. I see Charlotte. Thank you and welcome to the show. Welcome to everyone. We are going to take a quick break as we normally do. While we're doing that, I want to make sure that everyone thinks about who they're breathing for and with. We'll be right back. We'll get into our breathing exercises and then we'll get into our topic for the day. So stay with us. And we are back for our Courageous Conversations Connect Space Quarantine Talks. And this week, all week, we are talking about freedom fighters. Freedom fighters. What's worth fighting for in the midst of two pandemics, right? Yesterday, we talked about fighting, and we're still in a fight, quite frankly. So all week, we're talking about freedom fighters. Are you a freedom fighter? We had our acronym yesterday. And when I say freedom fighters, I mean, are we fighting for the same thing? Are we fighting for our freedom with our rights? It wasn't that long ago, quite frankly, that women did not have the right to vote, that Black people didn't have the right to vote. They're still doing voter suppression. So there's a way in which we have to break free and free ourselves. And so that's the topic for this week. And the topic for today, I like this topic. It's called Words Matter. Speak Life. It's from week 5 in Courageous Conversations Connect Space. And the acronyms LIFE stands for love, integrity, freedom, and energy. So I'm going to read an excerpt from that a little bit later. But yeah, I want you to get that in your head. It's a mindset. Think about freedom fighters. What's worth fighting for in the midst of 2 pandemics? Is it your family? Is it your integrity? Is it your freedom? Is it your ability to speak truth to power? Is it you sort of setting the standard so that you speak up and you show up and you stand up? Because I believe that if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. What is worth fighting for? And who are you breathing for? I got to tell you, right now, I'm breathing. I'm taking a sigh of relief. So I'm breathing for myself. And I'm also breathing for Senator Kamala Harris and her team. Why? Because this is just the beginning. Y'all know the deal. You know the attacks are going to be coming. She's a Black woman, an African-American woman. She is the first Asian American, Asian Indian American woman on a ticket, a major ticket. She has a number of first DA and a Black woman as a DA in California. And so she's not a stranger to fighting, right? If you watch the words that she's used, even when she was running for president, she's not afraid of the fight. She might not take the fight. She might not bring the fight, but she's going to handle the fight. And so I'm praying and breathing for her because I know that the attacks are going to come. They can't not come. They've got to, that's kind of how that administration does. They fight unfair. There's a lot of unfair fighting. And so we have to continue to keep her, I think, in our minds, our bodies, our prayers, and also breathe for the terrain that she's about to embark on. Remember when we were talking about fighting, we were like, where, what, why, and for are you fighting? Where are you fighting? What are you fighting? Why are you fighting? And for what are you fighting? That's really, really important when we are talking about freedom fighters. And actually, when we're thinking about words that matter, we're going to get into that because I absolutely believe that words matter. You know how people used to say sticks and stones might break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Well, I think words hurt. We tend to say that, are we using our words, actions, and our deeds? Are we helping to harm or healing the hurt? Are we helping to harm or healing the hurt? And are we doing that with our words, actions, or deeds? In everything that we do, we need to be thinking about, what is your intention? We know, right? You know when you've said something that was off the cuff or that was sarcastic or that was meant to hurt or harm, because we know when we feel it, right? As Maya Angelou says, sometimes people don't always remember what you said or did, but they always remember how you made them feel. So are your words intended to help heal or harm? So what are and who are you breathing for? Billy Joe is on, Mama Stokes, Deborah, Charla, IG family, Facebook family, YouTube family. Tag a friend, share this post, make sure that other people know, bring them onto the platform. This is our crew, connecting relationships for epic wins. So invite them to our YouTube page, Ask Dr. RG, AXKDRARGIE. As we get into our posture, I want you to get comfortable with your shoulders, get your back erect, right? Put your feet solid on the ground so that you're calm and relaxed. I ask you guys to do this throughout the day. This is going to be a long one for me. This is going to be a hot one. We've got lots of things to do in preparation for a special guest that we'll have on tomorrow, which I'm going to tell you about. And so I'm going to be doing this every hour during my breaks. And I want you to do it with me as well. So at the sound of my voice, when I count to 3, I'm going to ask you to breathe in through your nose. breathe out through your mouth. I'm going to also ask you to hold it for 8 seconds. We do that in honor of George Floyd and his family, where he had a knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And then even after the last breath left his body. Okay. We're going to breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. We're also breathing in hope and freedom and care and patience and calm and serenity. And we're going to breathe out worry and fear and unrest and anxiety and frustration. Mama Stokes says she's breathing for college students leaving home to move into the dorms and apartments. That's a great thing to breathe for, right? Because our young people are challenged, as well as, our parents being challenged with what's going to happen and making sure that their children are safe. BJ says she's breathing for my family as they are getting ready to be homeschooled, 3 kids in one house. Oh my goodness. So lots of different perspectives about what's happening with our children. Some kids are going back to college. Some kids are staying home. Some kids are going to schools. They're, grade schools, and some are being homeschooled, 3 kids in the same house, as BJ says. So definitely need to breathe for them. So let's do this. Middle finger to thumb, one hand over the next on your lap or to your side. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in through the nose. Breathe out. Breathe in through the nose. And out. Last time, make it count, crew. Breathe in. And out. That felt good. That felt good, right? Continue to do this, crew. Connecting relationships for epic wins. The way that we have healthy relationships is really to breathe, to exhale, to breathe in that good energy, and then breathe out the negative energy so that we are circulating that oxygen and circulating those good vibes, right? It's all energy. All right, let's get into our conversation about words that matter, speaking life, integrity, freedom, and energy. I want to read an excerpt. By the way, if you all know someone that wants to purchase Courageous Conversations Connect, you can go to drrgconnects.com, DRARGIE, connects.com. You can purchase a copy. You can also go to Amazon or any of their other outlets and purchase it as well. And many of my clients have said that when they're reading it, it feels like they're talking, it almost feels like they're in therapy, but they're not, right? But really, it's a call to action for many of you all who are passing out around this information. Suggest it as a gift to your friends because it talks specifically about having these courageous conversations. I give you 52 opportunities, meaning that you could actually do this once a week, and it would take you on a journey for the whole year of having 52 courageous conversations, 52 calls to action, and then 52 courageous actions, starting with radical self-care in action as the first chapter. And then we go to cost of love, money, sex, and kids, how to win in your relationships, how to be healthy in the midst of transition, 3rd chapter, and then also how to live your best life now. So in the 5th week, I'm talking about speaking life, words of love, integrity, and freedom and energy. And I want to read this one excerpt to you, and I want you to share with me what your thoughts are about this. The power of words matter, and we can speak life into ourselves and others with one decision to lift up versus put down. In a world where we are encouraged to not be kind and affirming to others while highlighting the worst of someone's limitations, titanic plates can shift with one decision to use words to help and not hurt those we encounter daily. Besides, quite frankly, it takes much more energy to be mean-spirited than kind-spirited. My mother used to say, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. So ask yourself this question: are your words, actions, or deeds helping to harm or healing the hurt, crew? Helping to harm or healing the hurt. So I want to ask you all to share your stories, and I want to share mine with you first. And then perhaps you can jump in and sort of resonate, allow this to percolate with you with when's the last time that you use your words to help heal or harm, right? We're probably all guilty of sometimes being a little bit, edgy or upset or uptight, and we might be using our words to sometimes harm. So when's the last time you used your words? And more specifically, who in your life has spoken words of life, right? Love, integrity, freedom, and energy, or death, and how did it impact you? So for me, it's, there are many, many people. I am so blessed to have so many people in my life that have been helpful to me, that have spoken words of life into me. There's been mentors from Mr. Pizzo, my, fifth grade teacher, to, Ms. Johnson, my high school teacher, to Dr. Kelly and Dr. Jennings, who were Black women at Howard University. Y'all see my hat right there behind me. They were Black professors at Howard University. And when I went there, I realized that there were Black people that had risen to achieve the highest scholastic degree that you can achieve, a PhD. And I wanted to be just like Dr. Jennings and Dr. Kelly, right? And so I studied them. I wanted them as my mentors. I ended up getting another mentor that I didn't particularly care for. And I begged, I sat in front of their offices for days, not days, I would come back every morning. I wouldn't sleep there, but I'd be like, can you mentor me? So they were my mentors. And then Dr. Gail Logan, who comes onto our platform, she was the first person that hired me right after college. Then Dr. Ruth Banks hired me for a job later on called Women's World. It was a program called Women's World for drug and alcohol addicted women and their preschool age children. So, and then there was Dr. Watson, who I call H2T2, stands for Harriet Tubman 2. So I've had mentors in addition to my parents for my entire life that have always spoken life to me. But guess what? I've also had people speak death to me. I've had people that shed darkness, people who didn't necessarily believe in me. And the truth is that the powerful words of light, they were much, much more impactful. And it's really up to us. It is up to us to determine for ourselves if we're going to use our power of our words to help or to help to heal, or help to harm rather, or help to heal. Are you helping to harm or healing the hurt? What about you? What about your words? Are your words, are your actions, are your deeds, are they helping? Well, I will tell you that last night, or yesterday actually, when I was working, seeing clients, and it came across my feed that Vice President Biden, who is now running for the highest office in the land, picked Kamala Harris, my Bison sister, right? We both went to Howard around the same time, Howard University, the greatest university on the planet. And when he picked her as a running mate. I believe that it illuminated, one, a big sigh of relief for most of us, but specifically for women of color. I believe that it was this refreshing connection. So you've got women of color. Let's just share a little bit, like Senator Kamala Harris, and we'll talk a little bit more about this tomorrow, but she's an AKA. She's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated that was started on Howard University's campus. And so I have my sister Kelly is an AKA. I have many good friends that are AKAs. I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, but guess what? We all stand for women that are committed to public service. And so we all work towards the greater good as sisters in the sisterhood. So she is a part of that organization. She's also a Lynx, and she's also an alumni of Howard University. So there's a lot of connection there, right? We believe that connections matter, and how we speak life and love and hope and freedom, or I say light and love, truth and accountability equals hope and freedom. How are you using those words, light, love, truth, and accountability, to equal hope and freedom? Kamala Harris, I believe, is going to do that on that ticket with Vice President Joe Biden. They've got a fight on their hands, that's for sure. But I'm asking us as a part of the crew, what are the things that we can do? How can we take the messages that we've received, positive words of affirmation, and how can we double down on that to get the word out? What is our contribution? Because as I said to Morgan yesterday, we celebrate tonight. This is a momentous occasion. Senator Biden with his pick, or Vice President Biden with his pick, he made history along with Senator Kamala Harris. But now we got to roll up our sleeves and do the work. What is the work for you? I'm asking our crew, let's weigh in. How are you taking your experiences of people who have spoken into you, connecting relationships for epic wins, and how are you depositing that in others? Are you making a commitment to come alongside perhaps a senior person and make sure that they vote? Are you going to be at the polls? Are you going to call up your friends? This is an exciting moment, and with so much that we've had to deal with these two pandemics, right? COVID-19 and systemic racism. You know, this is now a time for us to sort of double down on what can we do? What can we do? So there's a couple quotes that I thought about, and then I, sort of looked it up, and I want to share those quotes with you and ask you what they mean to you. One of the quotes is, "You never know how long your words will stay in someone's mind, even long after you've forgotten you've spoken them." Has there ever been a time where you spoke words of life and love, or even truth or accountability into someone? You forgot about it, and then they came back to you and said, when you said that to me, right, it impacted me in this way, and I'm using it. So in reference to that, Dr. Marlene Watson, which I know that she comes on, she doesn't come on in live, but she follows a lot of that we do. She is my friend. She is my mentor. She is just one of the most courageous women I know. I call her HT2. We were at a conference. We were at a SoulWorks conference with Dr. Kenneth Hardy. We were sitting at lunch one day, and she said, you do know that God has given you everything you need to carry out his assignments. And we sort of pondered that for a moment. And again, I tap in. I'm asking you all to tap in to the words that someone has imparted into you. So those words that particular day were coming at the right time, because I felt like, to a certain degree, that perhaps I wasn't necessarily, I didn't have what it took to ascend to the hopes, wishes, and dreams that I had. And in that moment, she spoke love, she spoke light, truth, and accountability that brought me hope and freedom. And that speaks to freedom fighters, right? Harry Aponte, Dr. Harry Aponte, I've got some amazing people in my life, right? Dr. Harry Aponte had his birthday yesterday, and I thanked him on Facebook, and he thanked me for thanking him, which to me, he's given me so much more than I could ever have asked for or dreamed. He's been my mentor. He's been my friend. He was my first professor over 20 years ago. And he said, RG, the more you do this work, the more you see yourself walk through the door. And he also spoke accountability, because there were times when I would come to his supervision and I'd be so busy doing other things. And he said one day, can I see you after supervision? And I said, well, sure. I'm thinking it's not a big deal. And Everyone had left. All the other students had left. I think I had graduated, and so I was in his person of the therapist training. Person of the therapist is his pot model, by the way. And so we sat down in his office, and he said, you do understand that when you check out like that while we're in supervision, you're sending a message that the other people's presentations don't matter. And I know you're talented and you're going to be great. You're already great, but you're also being disrespectful to the people in the group. That was accountability right there. And I was so hurt because I was like, oh my God, I disappointed, my professor, my supervisor. And he said, no, take this as a lesson learned. You never realize how people are perceiving you. And to the world, you might be one person, but to one person, you might be the world. So when you are present and you're giving off this positive energy, it's going to help the whole environment. And I took that to heart. Like I never did. And in fact, I use it in the training that I do with my supervisees as well. I say, like, be present in everything you do, no matter how little or big it is, be present. Karen James says, it's great to have encouraging people in your life. It absolutely is, Karen, right? I think that we also have to use our energy and our discernment to know who's positive, who's encouraging, and who's not. Charlotte says, words do matter. People don't realize that words can hurt. They absolutely can, right? And so I want y'all to think about those two things that both Karen and Charlotte said, that if you have encouraging people in your life, you want to keep those people in your life. But if you have discouraging people in your life they're actually helping to harm, they're not healing the hurt, then you might want to distance from those people, right? In this world where we had gotten really dark before COVID-19, where people have been giving themselves permission to hurt with their words. Think about social media. Think about all the negative content that's in that space where people actually give themselves some virtual courage, if you will, to say horrible things to people, to use words to hurt. That's not being free. Those are not freedom fighters. Those are people that are actually picking a fight to harm people. And I think that as we move into this space, as we move into the next, I think it's 85 days left until the election. I think we're going to have to fight really hard, but we're going to have to fight in a courageous way, right? In a very strategic way. So Michelle Obama, who's one of my other sheroes, I can think of many. It's very interesting. A lot of times people who have unusual names stick out to me, if you will. So Kamala, I haven't heard that word before. Obama is an interesting word. Michelle is not so interesting in terms of that, but certainly the things that she has done in the world have been, I think, very powerful. And do y'all remember when she was speaking for the DNC a couple of years ago, and she said, when they go low, we go what? Can anybody in the chat write down what the word was? I'm sure you remember it, right? When they go low, we go what? Y'all tell me what the word is, because I'm sure everyone remembers that. And it was a call to action. It wasn't just simple words. It was a call to action. Hi, Karen said hi. Absolutely. It was a call to action. When they go low, we go high. And I believe that we're shifting. Bishop Sean Bartley said, hi, that's right. That's right. Thank you for joining the show, Bishop. It was a call to action, crew, right? It was a call to say, we can do better. BJ said, we go high. How can we use that mantra? How do you use that mantra in a way that allows you, the words that emanate from you, to elevate both you and others? Charlotte said hi. BJ said hi. Cynthia said hi. Absolutely. If you're on this, put it in the chat. Put the word in the chat, because it's allowing us to connect in solidarity for what we're about to embark on. If we're going to be freedom fighters, And they, whomever they are, whether it be Republicans, whether it be Democrats, whether it be people in your house, whether it be people in your workplace, whether it be people in the church community, whether it be people in put in the chat, we go high. Why is that important? That's important because when you're in a fight for your freedom, you have to make a declaration that they're not going to pull you down into the gutter with the negative words, with words that hurt, with words that harm, with words that don't heal, right? And so if you have that in your spirit already, when it comes at you, when people are trying to pick a little bit, yeah, the system is a little bit weak today. But when they're trying to get you on the battlefield, you got to be tooled up. You got to be equipped. You got to be equipped to go high, as our FLOTUS said, First Lady of the United States in this office. She said, yeah, we are, I know we're buffering, experiencing a lot of buffering. I'm sorry about that. But tell me your story. Are there other times where people went low in the workplace? Has that happened to you since you've been quarantined, where somebody's gone low and they've been hurtful with their words or actions, and you had to dig deep to that free space, right? The free space cost you something, by the way. There's a free space inside of all of us where we internalize information, messages, and in that free space, what it costs us is to be able to access it. Yes, there is a delay and it's freezing, BJ said, so forgive that. Helen says, good morning, amen. Let's talk about what our freedom cost us. Because when we're in a fight, we have to give messages that matter. And in those messages that matter, they matter not just to us, but they matter to whomever we're connecting with. Again, remember, we're a part of this crew for a reason. It means connecting relationships for epic wins. That also means that as we go high, and that's what I want to drop into your spirit today, so that throughout the day, when you're doing your breathing, you think about those words that First Lady Michelle Obama stated. When they go low, we go high. How are you then going to go high? It's not on our end. How are you going to use your words to help heal? Are you going to be a wounded healer in this space? Bishop Bartley says the statement reminds us the importance of strength of our character. Absolutely. The strength of our character. What do you stand for, Bishop Bartley? What do we stand for? If we don't stand for something, we'll fall for what? Anything. And so we got to stand up. We got to show up. We got to speak up. And we speak up with truth to power. BJ says, I've been guilty of both, helping and hurting with my words. Inadvertently, when I hurt with my words, I try to be better and do better because I know better. Oh, BJ, you said something. I love that. She said, I want to read that again. The last part of that, it says, I try to be better and do better because I know better. And BJ, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Because how many of us, I want to speak to that. How many of us know better? You know, like, who was it? Chris Record said, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Like, yes, it was a drop the mic moment. How many of us really know better? We know better than to say certain things. It's kind of like when your mother used to say, like, you knew better and you just did it anyway. We can check ourselves, quite frankly, before we wreck ourselves by challenging ourselves. It's not just incumbent upon other people to challenge us. That's cool. But internally, how many times have you just said to yourself, like, you shouldn't have said that? What was your intention when those words came out of your mouth? And then sometimes people say, I'm just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it real. Well, you can keep it real and be kind at the same time. You can. You can keep it real and be true to the integrity of your words at the same time. You can keep it real with love and light, truth and accountability, which equals hope and freedom, right? If you're going to be a freedom fighter, if we in this crew, connecting relationships for epic wins, if we're going to be freedom fighters, then we've got to fight for our freedom of our words, as well as our actions and our deeds. And we got to fight with other people as well for their freedom and their words. Morgan, I think you have something to share there.
I had an intrusive thought.
I'm sorry.
Real quick. Can you hear me? Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Okay, got it.
All right, got it. Okay, there you go. All right. I had a real quick intrusive thought. Bishop Bartley is on, and one of the things, I don't know if many people who are on know this, but Bartley and I have been friends for 30 some years, But anyway, Bartley is Jamaican, so I want to know if he can get his take on the whole Kamala Harris, her Jamaican background, her Jamaican father. Real quick, I can send you the link. Are you available to come on real quick and kind of have a quick conversation with RG? Just type in whether you're available right now or not. Really curious to get your take on that, Bartley. If you can kind of type in there. But yeah, it's kind of awesome. And if not, we can certainly have you on another day to kind of weigh in on that a little bit, Bartley, as a special guest. So real quick, if you can kind of let us know if you're available right now. But I wanted to kind of come on and kind of jump in there and put Bartley on the spot.
Well, as we're waiting to see if Bishop Bartley can sign on, one of the things I really wanted to highlight with Kamala Harris is the level of diversity. We were listening, Morgan and I, to the congressman this morning, and he was talking about the diversity. Bishop will be on in a little bit. He said, yes, give me 5 minutes. That's great. That the having a seat at the table also matters. And the question that resonated with me was, I don't know if y'all saw the clip where the vice president reached out to Senator Kamala Harris yesterday. And the first thing that he said, are you ready to get to work? And she said, oh, I am so ready to get to work. And so it resonated with me that how many of us have had an opportunity come our way, but we weren't ready. Like that, I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in, hard work and preparation meets opportunity. And when the opportunity shows up, the question is, will you be ready? Have you studied? Have you shown yourself approved? Have you done the work? Have you put in the time? Have you paid your dues? Do you do the necessary things to build up, by the way, your emotional strength muscles? I talked about that a little bit yesterday. What is that? That, as I said, Senator Kamala Harris, she's in for a fight, right? It's not going to be pretty. Nobody's going to hand her or the vice president this nomination and this presidency and vice presidency with a nice neat little, in a, gift box with a nice neat little bow. They're going to come at them really hard. And she's prepared, but she's prepared because she's been doing the work. And the work that I call it, as I call it, is not just the external work. Right? I had a friend years ago who works out a lot because she has lupus. And I said, do you like working out every day? Because I sure don't like working out every day. And she said, no, I don't like get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and going running and working out. But she said, I build my body up, not for the present, but for what's going to happen in the future when the curveballs come and I'm going to be prepared and strong. How many of us do that? How many of us do that emotionally? When the fight comes to us, we don't take the fight, but when the fight is brought to us, are we emotionally prepared? Do we have words in our spirit to combat the negativity that would come our way? Are there going to be dream squashers, and that we also are equipped with dream lifters, both externally and internally? Because quite frankly, I will tell you, some of us are very guilty, as BJ talked about. Some of us are very guilty of the negative messaging internally So before we ever step foot outside of our homes, we've already done ourselves in with the negative words and the negative messages. And so, again, the diversity in all the places and spaces that, quite frankly, Senator Kamala Harris is going to stand for when she now has a seat at the table, whether it be with her Asian Indian background, or whether it be her Jamaican background, or whether it be that she's been graduated from an HBCU, or that she's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, or whether she is a member of Lynx or the Senate. She's going to bring her voice to the table and use her words, her deeds, and her actions to help lift. And that's what I'm excited about. But she can't do it by herself. We have to help her. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, share the stories. Think about your story, about the words that someone has used to either help you or hurt you. And then we're going to bring back Bishop Sean Bartley to talk about his background and how that resonates with him, that we have a woman of Jamaican descent making history. So stay with us. We'll be right back. And good morning. This is Dr. RG here. Welcome to the Courageous Conversations Connect space. We've been on talking about how words matter, right? And we've all week talked about freedom fighters. What's worth fighting for? What is worth fighting for in the middle of two pandemics? And how are you using your words and your actions to impact things? You want me to look at IG. So, hey, IG family, is there somebody on that's asking a question?
They might want to hear you talk to them.
Okay, all right, okay, all right. Hey, IG family, I'm sorry.
You gotta show them love too.
I don't mean to neglect you. It's just kind of hard to look up and down sometimes. So when I do this and the camera's up here, then everybody's seeing my chin. So you're gonna either see my forehead or my chin. So I apologize for that. So thank you again for joining. And also for just being a part of our crew, Connecting Relationships for Epic Wins. This conversation that we've been having, believe it or not, for 67 episodes is really about us touching base with one another, us sharing with one another, us lifting each other up, and us making sure that we have these quarantine talks. In a few minutes, or a few seconds, quite frankly, we're gonna bring on Bishop Sean Bartley, who is a really, really great friend of Morgan's, and we are excited that he just, jumped on or hopped onto a platform, and he is certainly always welcome to come on in anytime. So good morning. Good morning,
Good
Bishop.
morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good. Thank you. Thank you for having me, as always. Hey, Morgan.
Oh my goodness. I'm
What's
so
happening, man? How
excited,
you
Morgan.
doing, brother? Appreciate you making the last minute request. But just
Sure,
wanted to
no
get you
worries. What are friends
on.
for?
Yeah. How you felt about your countrywoman, Kamala,
Yep.
being
Yep.
from Jamaican descent, and being a West Indian, and I have some roots with that because my grandfather, he's Bahamian,
Yep.
so I
Yep.
wanted your take on that. So I figured, let me just check in, and so glad that you, kind of chimed in today, man. So I want to get your take on that. So.
Sure, sure. Again, I don't think it matters where a person is from. I think what matters is, can they do the job? Do they have the work ethic and the moral compass to guide our country? And I think we're focusing on the wrong issues. Nonetheless, I think in the climate our country exists in today, there's a lot of talk about racism, sexism, and gender inequalities. And so I think to some extent this is important because she arrives at the scene in a time where all of those issues are hot issues, and she fits the bill in every section.
Yeah, Bishop, and I think that I forgive us, the platform is a little bit
I
spotty today,
understand.
but based on what I heard, like, I'm always a believer because I have had experiences where um, I'm at a meeting or at the table, and the fact that I'm there means that I then can speak to the issues that are impactful to me as a woman, me as a woman of color, as a Black woman, um, me as someone who has risen up to the higher levels of the academy, and yet at the same time had a glass ceiling on my head because people didn't believe that I could do the job. And so I think from that perspective, when we are, and this is why I
I think you froze. Um,
heard is that when you have people at the table, they can speak the truth to power, especially afraid. But I do also believe that fear sometimes can paralyze us, and it can put us in a position where we finally have ascended to a space and then we're silenced. Our voice is silenced. To a certain degree, perhaps the words that we're actually using don't matter as much. So I'll tell me if you all are actually hearing me. Oh, Bartley's back. Bishop Bartley's back. We had a pretty unstable connection there, Bishop Bartley. So sorry for that. We froze. Carla said we froze. Thank you for joining, Carla, as well, and Ahmad as well. So what I was saying, Bishop Bartley, is that I've had those experiences where I got a seat at the table and then I had a glass ceiling, and I was silenced, right? And so I was speaking words that I felt were truth to power, to the larger system, but those words were sidelined. In essence, I was othered, if you will, and so those words mattered to me, but they didn't necessarily matter to the larger entity. And so I think that that's why had a breath or a sigh of relief, because I felt like with Senator Kamala Harris, based on what I've seen her do, and I definitely believe that the person should be in that position that can actually do the job. But I also think she's put the work in. And I was just saying before you came on that it's not any coincidence. I don't really believe in coincidences. I believe in preparation meets opportunity. And
Absolutely.
I had asked Drew to think about, and you can share this as well if this has ever happened to you. Have you ever been in a situation where you got an opportunity and then you realize, I didn't do the work. I didn't prepare myself for this opportunity. And then I lost out not only for myself, but possibly impacting others. Can you kind of speak to that?
I can, but let me speak to it in the context of Senator Harris. Can you hear me well? Can
Yes,
you hear me?
yes, yes.
Okay. I think the media is focusing on the fact that she comes from parents that are Jamaican or immigrant parents, and one of the things that I think is important is to realize that many immigrant parents teach strong work ethic to their kids. That's just part of the culture of being an immigrant, a part of migrating. My parents came to this country at 40 years old and above, and so being able to realize that they had certain disadvantages coming in, that they had to work twice as hard, and they taught me a strong work ethic. Morgan knows, I was always first in, last out because I had to work my way to the top, and that's just the reality. I think Kamala Harris has the work ethic. I think she has proven in one of the toughest states that she can do it. And I don't know that when she ran for president. I don't know that it was that she wasn't as prepared as America was not prepared for a black female president. That's the reality of the situation. And so I think if we trust Biden, we have to trust that he selected the right candidate based on all the criteria that was necessary to be his running mate. And so we have to endorse it because we endorse Biden. And then black female America has to lift their hat and be proud in this moment that we are looking at what's historical. Historically, we have seen this role go to a Caucasian male. And so I think we are living in the greatest season to see something like this, and we need to line up behind that team and do what's necessary to promote our issues. Now, preparedness, meeting opportunity. They have been, again, I have, Morgan knows, I came up in corporate America, where, hey, I am African American. I am immigrant, and ultimately, so I had two strikes coming in the door. The reality is, you have to one be willing to have the mindset to outwork everyone else and never lose sight of the goal. Never lose sight of, push until something happens. Continue to work until the goal is achieved. And I think that's what we have in the Biden-Harris team, are people who are going to push. And then let's face back, what's the alternative? You already know.
You got that right. You got that right. What is the alternative? We can ask ourselves that question in every situation that we're in. What's the alternative? And actually, are we paying a higher price than we want to pay? Well, sometimes we do need to pray, but are we paying a higher price than we want to pay for our particular actions?
Correct.
Even math these days, Bishop, has become a political thing, and I've actually stopped doing this. I used to get feeds on my phone every morning. I don't watch those feeds because you're now seeing the perpetuation of negativity and darkness and a poor, bad behavior, where people are giving themselves permission to just be so unkind, so hurtful to other human beings who may have a difference of opinion. If people should choose not to wear masks, I can't change that for people. I'm just going not to hang out with you. If you're out in the public without your mask, I'm just going to be distant. That's certainly your choice. So, I think that we moved into a political position where we tend to not honor people's differences either, and we only want to hang out with people that look like us, that talk like us, that act like us. And I think that would be a pretty boring world to live in, And so, speaking of courageous conversations, how do you think the discourse will be as we embark on the next 85 days moving towards action? Because I don't believe that we can stay home. We all have to take action in some way, shape, or form. What do you feel like will galvanize the people in our community and in other communities?
Well, I think
I think he froze again. So hopefully he'll come back. And as we're waiting for him to come back, I want to read this to you all because we're sort of moving towards the end. No matter what, he's going to come back. No matter,
yep.
Oh, there you are. There you
Yeah,
are. You
yeah.
froze.
Yeah, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to use this platform to say this. I read yesterday there were over 238,000 registered African Americans who did not vote in Philadelphia in the last election. I want to make sure on this election we maximize our opportunity by voting. Everybody needs to get out and vote because every opinion matters now. All right. We've seen what not voting can do. We need to rally the troops on the community level, grassroots level, everybody that needs to vote. These next days ahead of us are critical. The second thing I want to say is this. I think this is not I think there's a lot of work that the Biden-Harris team has to do in order to ensure victory. And I think it's going to take a community. But realize this: there's been a lot of talks today about immigration. There are a lot of talks about the border. Let's face fact. Trump, one of the main issues he ran on was that whole border, the wall that we don't know where it is now. And how people from crossing the border are being treated today, the human rights issues, all of those things, which are going to be sensitive issues for Kamala Harris as she wraps her mind and heart, and it affects California certainly. So so she is going to play an important role in bringing that issue. I also want to say this, I've been blessed as a leader to be surrounded by teams with a lot of females, and I realize this, that females bring that nurturing side, sometimes that balanced side to that conversation. We tend to just talk from our head a lot as men, while you guys talk from your heart and balance it with your head. So I think
That's
she's
right.
going to, all right, she's going to bring that other side to the Biden campaign, and I think as a black female, she's in touch with the issues of racism that is right now taking over our community, and needs someone that is going to address it. Our present president has totally ignored this issue, and has decided to approach it with force. I think she'll approach it from a heart's perspective, a human perspective, and help us even trumpet the statement Black Lives Matters and make it matter in our community.
Yeah, I absolutely agree 1,000% on that. I think I don't know that our current administration just ignored it. I think they actually used it as propaganda to
True,
elicit more
true.
hatred.
Hmm.
And I think that I was using the hashtag love Trump's hate because I feel, quite frankly, that this is the truth, right? That
Yep,
we
it
really need to
is.
bring our hearts to the matter with regards, in addition to sort of connect our head and our heart with regards to human beings and how we have a human connection. Carla, I wanted to get her statement in. She says, "My hope is that, which is valid, we can we can stay connected as people and not allow divisive politics to creep in." She says she feels like that they will try to separate us into two camps: the Booker T camp and the Du Bois camp. I think that's kind of a valid point that in some
Very
ways we
valid.
do have very different perspectives, even as Black people. And often there is a message that we're a sort of a monolith, which we aren't. We have different ideas about various things based on where we come from. But I think there's some common ground. What's your thoughts about how we can stay connected, even if we have different thoughts about how we move forward?
Well, we have to celebrate our differences, and realize that it's in those differences that we bring solutions to the table. All our cultural background, all our experiences are different, but it brings different philosophies and ideas. Secondly, we know that divide and conquer has always been the strategy. We can't let that happen in the next 85 days. More than ever, we must be united as a people, as we join. Remember, after this election, we've got to live with the consequences of those decisions. So we've got to be united as a people, because these issues affect all of us, no matter what our gender is, what our race is. These issues affect all of us, and we have lived with it for the last 4 years. It's time for change.
Time for change, absolutely. We cannot afford, as you say, Bishop, to not act. We cannot
Absolutely.
afford to not vote. There will be voter suppression. There always has. I feel like they will take it to a new low in terms of, we saw it in the primaries where the machine
Absolutely.
they changed the locations. People didn't know. They don't have vehicles. It's in the midst of a pandemic. Now they're
Yeah.
saying that people who have been incarcerated, they actually need to pay all of their fees. And this is happening, I think, in Florida before they
Yep.
actually vote, and they don't even know what their fees are. They're trying to, they're in the courts right now fighting against early
Hmm.
ballot voting, saying that it's unconstitutional, as well as the drop boxes because they're not manned. Then they
Hmm.
want to pull other people in from other parts of the state that have nothing to do with these particular districts to actually watch what's going on at the polls. So these are definitely unprecedented times, and I think that we can't be passive. We can be compassionate, but we cannot be apathetic or passive in this situation at this point.
Absolutely. We've got to rally our communities. We've got to rally using all the, again, voter suppression has always been part of the strategy, right? And they're going at it head on. They're just bringing the fight to us, and we have to be willing to fight with our votes. We have to, those 238,000 people in Philadelphia that decided not to vote the last time have to vote. And not only do they need to vote, they need to bring their families with them. All right. This is the time where every vote is going to matter.
That's right. That's right.
You know, Bart,
Hey, Morgan.
you hit the nail right on the head. Those 238,000 people did
Yes.
not vote, right? And we lost by 44,000. So that's so understand the numbers here. Had they all voted, Pennsylvania would have been won by a landslide. You know what I mean? So, you know, people that say vote doesn't matter, sorry. I don't buy that. Every vote counts. Every vote matters. I think right now what's being recognized is that Kamala Harris is bringing another heightened level of super energy. And I think we need it, to be honest with you. I think
Absolutely.
people were going to vote, but it brings the level of energy to a fever pitch. I mean, you know, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be Obama-like 08 kind of a thing, you know, and that's what you got to excite the base. And I got to give the GOP credit for this. They really know how to excite their base. You know, Democrats sometimes have been guilty of not understanding about messaging. Okay. And more to your point, you said, you know, how, you know, the different factions, the Booker T. Washington faction versus Du Bois. Listen, we've always had this problem with us at our community. You know, we get into these camps and, you know, we kind of cannibalize ourselves and eat ourselves from the inside out. And next thing you know, we end up with a Trump. Listen, it's no way Trump should have won the election. Okay.
No way.
But what happened? People became disaffected people who are mad and angry and pissed off that Bernie Sanders, and we got to be honest, Hillary made a mistake. She should have told Bernie Sanders, okay? Let's call it what it is, okay? And you lost a lot of people that way. Biden did not make that mistake. He chose the right person, and right now we're going to see what's happening. So, listen, man, appreciate you, bro. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I know I'll put you on the spot, man, but
no worries.
Through, man. You know,
no worries.
The connections do matter, right?
Absolutely.
Give out to your family, Bishop. Thank you.
We'll do. Thank you.
Right,
Thank you. Have a great day.
Man.
All right, that was awesome, babe.
All right, yeah, good stuff.
That's awesome.
Good stuff.
So listen, I want to let you all know that and then what is it, 11 o'clock? Okay, so we're going to take a quick break and we'll come right back, and I want to give you some information about what you're going to experience tomorrow. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm Dr. R.G. Allen Wilson. You may recognize me as a leading relationship expert for TV programs such as CNN, The Today Show, Good Day Philly, Fox 29, Tamron Hall Show, Mel Robbins Show, and local and national radio shows, just to name a few. I want to invite you to a very awesome opportunity that will enhance your life. Having courageous conversations that connect is key for a healthy relationship with ourselves and others. Knowing the right strategies and techniques aren't as simple as we think. There are principles to understanding how we all think and feel. Right now, you can join in my free quarantine talks to learn what others spend thousands of dollars in therapy to know. Each day, while we are in quarantine at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can watch, listen, and learn tips that will help you get through this challenging time in our lives. Here's the good news. There is absolutely no cost for you to participate. Tune in on YouTube, Facebook, and the Gram at Ask Dr. RG. I look forward to seeing you join our crew. And that's connecting relationships for epic wins. Have a beautiful day on purpose. From my heart to yours. Hey there, crew. This is Dr. RG here, and we have had a full hour. We had a top-end guest, Bishop Sean Bartley. Thank you so much for joining us, Bishop Bartley. This has been Courageous Conversations Connect Space, and I want to get Carla's statement in because I think it's a really phenomenal one. Carla Trotman says, once we lock in this election, my hope is that we start playing chess. We need to invest in the political action committees, giving ourselves a voice on the front end. That is powerful. So, you know, I think people they think very linear politically, thinking, okay, we got this. Guess, we got these people on the ticket. We're going to get them in, but we got to vote, and then we got to stay engaged so that we continue to create an administration that is diverse, that has people at the table, that can speak truth to power, use our voices that matter most and our words, and create a shift. We're talking about dismantling and reimagining what it could be for all people. So thank you, Carla, for that. I appreciate that. Carla's been on, BJ, Darlene was on. Thank you for joining, as well as who else was on? Mama Stokes was on a little bit earlier, and Cynthia, Charla, Deborah as well. Thank you all. Thank you, IG family. Thank you, Facebook family and YouTube family. If you haven't done all this yet, go over to the YouTube page, hit the subscribe button, subscribe to Ask Dr. Argie, AskDrArgie. If you're interested in therapy, give us a call at 215-789-6999 or contact us at Connections Matter LLC. We're still doing therapy with families and individuals and couples as well. So we are here for you in the midst of all of this that is going on. And tomorrow, you must tune in. It's going to be a great conversation. We have a special guest on. Her name is Rita Lewis. I call her my sister from another mister. You all have watched me when I was on the Charlie Lewis show, one of my best friends, and he comes on our show as well. Well, this is his sister. Their family is just doing the darn thing. And Rita Lewis she is the co-founder of Women of Color for Biden and Harris. She's also the director of Congressional Affairs and senior fellow at the German Marshall Fund of the United States. And she was or the former special representative for global intergovernmental affairs in the Obama administration for the U.S. Department of State. So she is boss lady big time. And she's going to be on talking about her initiative with Women of Color. She's going to be talking about the Biden-Harris ticket. And we're going to be talking about how do we get all of us as women and men of color engaged to stay connected, just like what Carla said. So stay with us. Come back tomorrow. We're on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 10 a.m. We have a couple of other comments. I just want to get those in before we end. Debbie said, I like the chess analogy. I feel like the GOP consistently plays chess in terms of messaging, especially. And there are those who trigger the dog whistle words. Speaking of words that matter, right? And Jessica, my bonus daughter, is on. Hey, Jess, love you, mama. And we got to spend time with our little grandbaby, Jace. So give him a big hug and kiss for us. And then Debbie says, and they use them to fire up their base, just like Morgan was saying. So yes, we are going to continue to do what we do here at our crew, Connecting Relationships for Epic Wins. We're going to be fired up. We're going to stay engaged. We're going to make sure that we get the message out to vote. And we're going to use our words that matter. Connecting Relationships for Epic Wins. So listen, thank you guys. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. Have a beautiful day on purpose from my heart.